For Jewish sovereignty to function in the real world, it requires a scientifically verified, rationally driven baseline of law. A system like the Mishneh Torah serves as a rigorous, logical foundation that dictates physical, earthly action. Restoring a scientifically verified, objective baseline text is the mandatory prerequisite for true national sovereignty. Rule must be based on a shared, public constitution. But a written text presents a paradox. Once the law is carved into stone or written on a scroll, it becomes static. Historical epochs, however, are constantly in motion. Friction is inevitable when rigid, ancient codes meet the evolving needs of a modern society. Without a systemic mechanism to adapt its application, an objective text eventually loses its relevance and shatters under the weight of a changing world. Sovereignty relies on a system that preserves the law's objectivity while remaining entirely responsive to the present moment. When a rigid, ancient text meets the evolving needs of a new civilization, the gap between the words and reality grows. Eventually, the system either becomes a relic or collapses under its own inability to adapt. To survive, an objective legal system requires a mechanism to continuously bridge that gap, updating its application to new realities without collapsing into arbitrary tyranny. The objective law only survives if the courts possess a dynamic capacity to interpret and govern, ensuring the core principles function within new realities. To protect the core, courts issue dezerot, safeguard decrees preventing the public from inadvertently violating foundational laws. They also enact takanot, adapting the law to new environments and expanding the engine's reach without breaking its mechanism. This court operates under the authority of din muflah. When a law is ambiguous or its application to a modern problem is mysterious, the court has the power to legally define its meaning for that generation. These are specific commandments left open-ended, demanding rigorous human interpretation to define how they should actually be practiced in reality. We see this in the evolution of marriage. In the desert, union was established through a physical act of betrothal. As populations moved into dense urban centers, the courts prescribed a formal financial contract to protect women's rights and provide legal clarity in a more complex social landscape. These ancient texts were never intended to be frozen artifacts. They act as blueprints that require a living, mechanical operating system to continuously update them, preventing civilizational decay. This logical framework acts as an intellectual immune system. It prevents the original text from degrading into irrelevance, ensuring the law remains a dynamic, rational tool for survival in any era. We know this system works in reality because of the historical proof of concept, the ancient Yarkei Kallah assembly in Babylon. Twice a year, normal life paused. Tens of thousands of citizens, farmers, merchants, commoners, flooded into the cities hosting the great rabbinic academies. For 5 months prior, every participant independently prepared a specific legal tractate. They arrived in Babylon already steeped in the arguments and complexities of the law. The result was a month of intense, open intellectual combat. The supreme justices were forced to defend their interpretations against the scrutiny of a nation that had done its homework. This process of public cross-examination ensured that no ruling was passed in isolation. Consensus was forged through rigorous, transparent debate. The Babylonian Talmud is the direct recording of these debates. It is a textual monument to a legal system built on multi-generational, democratic consent. In modern Jerusalem, the challenge has returned. For an ancient constitution to govern a high-tech sovereign state, the Kallah mechanism must be resurrected. The Western Wall Plaza, currently a place of silent prayer, has the scale to host this, not as a relic of the past, but as the geographic center of a living law. Visualize the plaza as a massive, high-tech intellectual arena equipped for national deliberation and global broadcast. This assembly would bring together secular professionals, legal experts, and traditional scholars, all focused on the same rational, logical objective. Its primary function would be to debate and resolve the legal complexities that the ancient text could not have explicitly foreseen. The floor could debate the admissibility of encrypted video testimony in a court of law, establishing parameters that balance security with ancient standards of evidence. They would analyze the physics of electricity, transforming Sabbath observance from a collection of local customs into a unified, logically derived national standard. The biannual gathering would create a massive economic heartbeat, with international visitors arriving to participate in the nation's legal life cycle. A modern sovereign state needs more than a static text. It needs a national assembly that keeps its constitution breathing in a digital age. However, this blueprint must contend with the political reality of modern Israel. Currently, even the most brilliant jurisprudential rulings from such an assembly remain entirely theoretical. The secular civil judiciary systematically ignores these rulings, creating a wall between ancient law and modern state governance. This disconnect is fueled by a profound halophobia that persists among the secular public and the legal establishment. This phobia is rooted in the perception of a halifaxic state, an image of a theocracy where law is driven by the arbitrary whims of religious leaders rather than objective text. Until this perception is addressed, the intellectual engine of Jewish law will remain locked out of sovereign state governance. This makes the live broadcast of a modern Kallah a vital strategic objective. If a citizen cannot see the gears of the system turning, they rightfully fear being subjected to its power. When the logic is hidden, the rulings feel arbitrary. The friction between the secular state and its own heritage grows because the mechanics of consensus have been forgotten. As long as the law remains misunderstood, it will be viewed as a threat to freedom rather than the foundation of it. The modern Kallah solves this through radical transparency. By moving the debate into the open air, the system invites the public to watch the gears turn. Live broadcasting these debates proves that the system is built on rigorous, objective logic. It demystifies the process for the secular public, showing that every ruling is argued, tested, and vetted. This modern assembly merges ancient intellectual rigor with global transparency, providing the central operational engine of a sovereign civilization. The constitutional output of a Kallah session is the total eradication of ambiguity in the debated law. The court decides exactly how a vague commandment is to be legally applied. The result is formalized in a published document, detailing the specific hermeneutical proofs utilized, the counterarguments, and the final majority vote. This transparent publication democratizes the legal process. It shifts authority away from hidden elite gatekeepers and into the hands of an educated, engaged public. While the assembly establishes a rigorous path for generating objective law, the mechanism cannot enforce itself. Objective law possesses zero actual power without the voluntary ratification of the people it governs. Even the most logical legal code requires the citizens to actively accept it. This poses the ultimate constitutional challenge. How does a modern nation convince a secular majority to voluntarily recontract that foundational covenant